Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Ellie Distachio of Made by Ellie Brooklyn. Today I want to do a bit of an art experiment, which will hopefully be for my Wednesday kids class. But let me tell you something. Every time I do paint at school, I don't have my own art studio space. So when I go to class, we paint, we make a mess, and then I often toss everything into my art wagon and bring it home and toss it in my bathtub at home. And when I turn on the bathtub faucet, it like splashes paint really intensely over the whole floor of the bathtub, and it's like splatter paint in the bathtub. And I keep thinking that there's gotta be a way. The way the paint sits on the tub looks so cool, and there's gotta be a way to like marble paint paper with splatter paint. But then of course, like I can't hand 7 toddlers toothbrushes and let them splatter paint in someone else's classroom. That's for when I have an art studio. So I've been thinking literally for months, and we're gonna test out this idea I have, that if we mix paint with oil and we float it in like a dish of water, the bathtub, maybe the paint will float on top of the surface. I've got the droppers, but I think like you could literally just like pour little bits of oil paint in. I think that could be more friendly for kids that don't have highly detailed fine motor skills and who don't necessarily want to keep things neat. I think it will still be less chaos than splatter paint. And then I think you could dip the paper in. Anyways, no clue if it's gonna work. Let's see what happens. I have some containers. I'm gonna mix oil and paint using olive oil. I'm pretty sure you should use a cheaper, thinner oil like canola oil, but this is what I have right now. Got 2 colors of paint for contrast. Got a jar of drinking water that I'm gonna pour in there, and I'm using an old Tupperware container. I think I'd get like a big roasting, like a disposable roasting pan for art class, but I'm gonna use this Tupperware, and I'm gonna cut my paper down to size so that it fits in there. Okay, stay tuned. Let me do a cut. I'll show you a better angle so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, here we are. Workspace. Excuse my coffee. Let's make our oil paint first. I don't know our proportions. Let's start with, see, I don't want the finished art to be oily. That's my thought. So let's start with not a lot of oil and go from there. If that doesn't work, we'll use more. But I don't want the finished paper to be oily. Honestly, if the experience still works, I don't care if it's oily. But it's an added bonus if you could take home some like cute cards that are like marbly. So what I'm wondering too is if I'm gonna need to thin out the paint so that it like splatters better. But once again, let's try this. Let's try this and let's see, and we will adjust. Sometimes I test these projects in art class, which is honestly a ton of fun. Sometimes they don't work, but I think it's really good for kids to see us fail at things, because how else would they know that like you're allowed to try things and fail at things? Every once in a while I worry because people's parents paid a bunch of money for classes and then they're watching me just fail at things, but it's good for their kids. It's good for their kids to see me try to make something work. I'm gonna cut these to the right size. The paper doesn't fit in there. Let's just have paper that's the right size. Also, honestly, smaller paper can be more manageable. I know it's nice to have a really big piece of paper to maybe contain the mess, but if you have small paper, then you can give them a ton of sheets of paper and they feel like they have a lot of sheets of paper. Okay, let's see. I mixed it all together so it's not separating. I think the goal would be for it not to be separated. I bet you could use a spoon. Ooh, That wasn't what I thought was gonna happen, but it was cool. Okay. Currently looks real weird. Don't know if that's bad, that it's weird. Look at that. Okay, can I zoom you in? Hold on. Ooh. Let me, stay tuned, hold on. See, it like falls in like a ball and then it kind of spreads out. No clue what that's gonna look like on paper. Yeah, look at that, ew. Real gross. Really appreciate this. Okay. I am thinking that I can float. This is watercolor paper. I think we're going to need something sturdy. Okay, if I was marbling it, I'd like wiggle a stick through it. Let's do that. Let's see if it'll marble. Obviously, knitting needle. Okay, I would not say that's marbling. Let's drop a paper in it and let's just see. The kid who doesn't like to get her hands dirty is gonna really hate me for this. Ooh. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Okay. Should we just let's see how many we can do. I'm gonna just drop it. Look, watch. And then picking up, I'm gonna have to bring tweezers so that everyone can participate equally. Because honestly, it's valid that you might not want stuff on your hands, but you might still want to make cool art. Oh, okay. Before I post this video to YouTube, I will definitely let these dry and then I'll get back to you on how oily the paper is, because I can tell you that it already feels like a little too oily for me. I'm not saying this is clearly a project we're taking to art class, obviously, but I wonder if I can do it with less oil. Let's see. Hold on. We'll cut this. We're going to reset this. We're going to try it again with less. Okay, let's reset this. Here's the thing. My original inspiration in the bathtub doesn't have any oil. It's just the very hard pressure of the water splashing the paint into really nice splatters that then cover the bottom of the white bathtub in a really cool way. And that's what I'm trying to recreate here. I love that the oil is kind of separating. We're gonna see when it's more dry, but like parts of the paper are remaining really white, which is really cool. And the way the paint is sitting on the paper is really cool. But I'm also wondering, you know, you can't mail these as cute postcards to your friends if they're oily. And also, like, is the art going to attract bugs? Let me not send my students home with art that attracts bugs. So let's try it with just water. I actually don't know what, this is just like school smart finger paint, but I would call it like cheap, non-staining kids paint. Let's just see if we drop some of that into the water, what it looks like. And then we'll compare. So let's cut over. Let's start over. Okay, we're back. These are the oil, water, and paint ones. I've cleaned my stuff out pretty well. Let's start just paint. And I also might, you know, I said just paint. I'm gonna water that paint down a little bit because I want it to squeeze really easily. And I think if this was just like a grown-up doing this or an older kid, maybe I wouldn't do this, but, and then pour some water in our dish. But I teach, my Wednesday class is a range of ages from like 3 to 7. And so I really try to make projects that are highly doable in different ways for all ages. So yeah, the 3-year-old's not gonna do it the same way as the 7-year-old, but I still want them to feel like they're doing it, that they're making art. So, okay, so this is paint and water. Like that much? You guys, I didn't measure it. Rarely do I measure it. Also, when you're teaching art class, you're not going to be able to measure it. When you have a kid who wants to do the art project, you're not going to be measuring super well. Ooh. Okay. Already, I will say it looks cool. Looks less weird. And I think from the way it's sitting on the water that you could totally marble this. I would probably suggest marbling with a big kid because a little kid's going to get way too tempted to just mix this into soup. And so I don't know if I'm going to offer marbling in class on Wednesday. Ooh, little circles, little swirlies. Okay, let's see how this sticks to the paint, to the paper. You guys, I feel like I might be Columbusing marble art. Like, definitely everyone else knew how to do this and I did not, and I'm just making this up, so apologies. Okay, I have to rescue the paper. Hold on. Rescue mission now. Oh, that's interesting. I am not against that. I think I need more pink. I think my orange had slightly less water in it and my pink is more watery and the orange is sticking really nice. Let's just see if we can use the same water. And see what happens. Okay. I don't know. Stir it. No, I'm not going to stir it. I'm tempted to stir it, but I'm not going to. Let's just see. Okay. Here I come. Gonna save it. How does it look? Ooh. Okay. I can see kids definitely enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. Also, I use a lot of hole punchers in my kids' art classes. I can also see punching holes in this or cutting this up as scrapbook paper. The back is way better. So let's just go over. Let's look at these two. Oil, no oil at all. I am very confident that these are going to dry, but I'll let them dry and then I'll film another clip for the end of this video so we can compare. Pretty sure these are going to dry just fine, no issue. These are definitely going to dry oily. Like, it's going to be like under the burger paper. I don't know, like old French fry paper. A little bit worried about that. But God, they look so cool. We'll see. We'll see how it dries. We will see how it dries. I'll see you in like 20 minutes. Let's give it 20 minutes and let's circle back. Okay, it's been like 45 minutes. Let's check in. Hold on, I feel like my camera's funky. Let's check back in. So first of all, let's rank this project. This project was so easy, I don't know if it counted as a project. Obviously, you use more colors of paint, bigger sheets of paper, try to get some marbling techniques. But I also just think if you had a toddler, some water, and some paint, you could use a spoon, drop some paint in the water, dip the paper. It would be awesome. Some of this paper is really pretty. Like this is, let's first look at the ones that have no oil in them. They're great. I think this project is about the process. I don't think we're making like works of art that you're going to sell as your new side hustle. But I think you're going to have a lot of fun doing this. And then you're going to write a little note on the back. You're going to put it in an envelope. You're going to mail it to someone you haven't talked to in a while. And this will do the trick. Or, ooh, I might do a stamp on top of there first and then mail it. Did a polka dotty one after I turned off the camera. Ooh, stuck a little to the table. Polka dots are cute. That's cute. Doesn't look marbled, but it was effective. Now the oil ones look obviously way cooler. I feel like I might be doing the oil ones in art class. I'm going to reduce the amount of oil. Realistically, probably throw out the paper after the kids leave. Because I'm still working on teaching kids that you don't have to keep your art, that making art doesn't mean having a final product. Making art sometimes just means exploring colors and shapes and textures and having fun. And these are awesome looking. We'll see. I almost wonder, the back of this is like good except for one really oily spot. So I wonder if I reduce the oil in the paint. Anyways, we're not supposed to have the perfect answers. We're just supposed to be all trying weird things and building off of each other's ideas. So hopefully that gives you a fun afternoon project. That gives you something to show the next kid you're babysitting, and a little preview of Wednesday's afternoon art club. Thanks for joining me. Bye.